Hey, what's up, everybody? All right, just getting settled in here for another awesome Wednesday session. And I'll tell you what, I'm excited because today we are going to be talking about the Facebook Pixel. And the Facebook Pixel is one of my absolute favorite things to talk about. In fact, I just finished making a video about it because I can do a much better job on like a planned out video rather than a totally live session. But today I want to blend the two together and I want to show a little bit of that video about the Facebook Pixel, give you the basics. And then last week in a couple of Facebook advertising groups that I'm in for professionals like myself, other agency owners or business owners or people who are doing their own Facebook ads, I did an Ask Me Anything session in there because we have a lot of clients that come through Funnel Owl, and we have a lot of different, they have lots of different setups and requirements and things that they want to track and capabilities and all those kinds of things. So we've done kind of run the gamut on ways we can do this and get the best results, but also not go way too far down the road and make things too complicated. So today I want to kind of dive into the video to kind of make sure we're all on the same page before we get started with the Facebook Pixel, but then also bring up a few of my the questions that I get asked the most by clients, by other agency owners and professionals and people like that. So first things first, let's dive right in to this week's Facebook Pixel video. Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about the Facebook Pixel and the 3 things that you need to know as a business owner, as somebody running ads, just the important stuff today. We're going to dive right in and get to some specifics. I'm Deacon Bradley from Funnel Owl, your Facebook advertising agency, and let's jump into a demo account first so that I can show you around some of the screen and exactly what it is we're looking at. So this interface changes all the time, so it might look a little bit different when you're getting into it. This was recorded in November 2016, and this is what it looks like right now. And as I jump in here, the first thing I need to do is I need to find the pixel, right? So and cruise over here, Facebook Pixel, this conversion tracking pixel old, that's going to be going away here in the next couple of months. So this is the part I want to do. I want to view the pixel, and the pixel code is actually this thing that's highlighted in blue when I mouse over it right here. They want you to copy that to the clipboard, and that's basically some JavaScript code that will go on your website. And it has 3 purposes that we're going to get to in a second. But Facebook is going to kind of walk you through some of the basics here. So here's your code. If you're not a developer, there's a place where you can just email this to your developer. Go ahead and click next, and it's going to kind of walk you through setting up some of the conversion tracking events, and we'll come back to that in just a second. And then finally, they're just going to get you to check the pixel status. But once you have all of that information, you are set up and you have everything that you need to install the Facebook Pixel. Now, if you're using WordPress, there's a plugin that I really like that makes this a lot easier. It's called Pixel Your Site. And it's a free WordPress plugin. If you're not going to get super advanced with how you use the Pixel, then this is a great option that can get you up and running in just a few minutes. And if you click from the WordPress plugin site over to the Pixel Your Site site, they've actually got some really good videos to help you get up and running. Get that Pixel installed on your site. That's the first step. Get it installed on your site, because without it, the sooner you can do it, the sooner you can start taking advantage of all the good stuff that Facebook has to offer. Real quick, let's dive in and look at exactly what the pixel is. Get into some nerdy stuff here. So this is the pixel code that they give you. This right here is when I was hovering over and there was that blue box that says copy the pixel. This is what they were asking me to copy, and this was what goes on the page. This fires when you visit a website, and it tells Facebook who visited the page, what page they visited, and what other actions they took on the page. There's a more advanced version of this, though, because once you tell someone who they are, you can also tell them specific conversion events that happen on your website. So did somebody sign up for your lead magnet, or did they join your newsletter? Did they actually buy something, and how much did they pay for it? Those are all things that you can send with an event to Facebook. Here's an example of what that event code could look like. I've added a couple basic parameters in here. So this is a lead event, and the content name is just telling Facebook that, hey, they signed up for, this is a lead for something for the Pixel Basics webinar. And that's just made that up. And it goes in the category of Facebook webinars because my business centers around Facebook. So these are things that I would install on a page. And if somebody converted on that page, it would tell Facebook, hey, they made this conversion. They're a lead and they signed up for this specific thing. So that's kind of the basics of to kind of start getting your head around what this does and why it's important. Now, if you have a business and you're going to be using this Facebook Pixel or you are already using it, I highly recommend you do two things. First, use the Google Chrome web browser. It's a great web browser, but it also has a special plugin, and it's the only browser that has this plugin, the Facebook Pixel Helper plugin. And once you have that plugin, it's going to show you some details so that you can confirm, yeah, the pixel's on my site, it's sending the right data, we're all set up. Now, one of the common misconceptions with the Facebook Pixel is not fully understanding what it's for. The Facebook Pixel has 3 specific uses. A lot of people know about 1, maybe 2, but you have to know about all 3 if you want to get the most out of it. The first use is conversion tracking. Okay, so when we looked at those standard events, when I say, hey, this person signed up for my newsletter, they bought something of mine, they joined my webinar, they paid me some money, those are all events that I would send using the Facebook Pixel. And when I send those events, that tells Facebook, they track it back to the ad so you can see which ad was working, which ad did they see or click through to create that conversion event. And that is critical if you're going to optimize your ads. You need to know those details so that you can make the right decisions, see what ads are working, what targeting is working. That's the first use of the Facebook Pixel, and it's probably the one that most people are really familiar with. The second use, though, is audience building. And with audience building, I mentioned earlier that every time somebody goes to your Facebook site, Facebook gets a record of that. And it's a little bit scary or creepy, but this has been going on for a long time. We should all be aware of that now. And anytime you go to a page, for example, if you go to funneleowl.com, it triggers this pixel that fires, and you get placed into one of my audiences. Now, I've got custom audiences. When I work with clients, I build custom audiences for their funnel so I can see who's at what stage of the funnel based on which pages they visit or based on which events that they're sending in with their Facebook Pixel. And those audiences are hugely powerful because it lets you run really targeted ads to the right people instead of just blasting out to everybody. So we've got conversion tracking, we've got audience building. There's one third use case of the Facebook Pixel, and that is ad optimization. And this is probably the least well-known and least understood, especially by business owners, of what the Facebook Pixel does for you. So once you have this Facebook Pixel installed on your site and it's tracking events, that's the key there. Once you get this part down, so you're tracking events, so you can say, hey, I'm running this webinar, and when people sign up for it, put them in this audience. The ad optimization piece, at the ad set level when you're setting up your ad, you can tell Facebook, hey, take this ad that I'm setting up and optimize it for a specific conversion event. Okay, did you catch that? That's huge. Optimize it for a specific conversion event. So you're telling Facebook, in other words, don't just go out and find people who like digital marketing or people who like tennis shoes. Find the people who look like the people who are actually taking the action that I'm trying to get them to take in my ad. And that is where you start to see the biggest results with your Facebook ads. Because when you can do that, you can harness the power of the Facebook algorithm and everything just starts working so much better. Okay. So whether you're a beginner with ads, you're just getting started, or you're working with an agency, or you have a developer, whatever it is, please use Google Chrome. Get the Facebook Pixel Helper plugin. Make sure your site is pixeled. And if it's not pixeled, get that pixel installed yesterday, because as soon as you get that on there, you can start building your audiences so that you can take advantage of some really powerful targeting stuff. You can get your conversion tracking set up. And finally, the more data that Facebook acquires from your conversion tracking and your audience building, the better they will do with ad optimization. That's it. This is Deacon Bradley from Funnel Owl. Get those pixels loaded. All right, that was awesome. I love the Facebook pixel. This is just such a powerful thing. And now that we kind of all have the same foundation, we know the three things that the pixel is for. I want to get into a couple of specifics that people ask me over and over again, especially people who are just getting started with the pixel, or even people who have been using it for a while in their business. Things change so fast on Facebook. It's hard to know what are the best practices, what's working now. And the first question is custom conversions versus standard events. So standard events, if you look back in the video, the standard event is when you've got the Facebook pixel code and then you've got the standard event code, like you're actually putting code on your page that says, hey Facebook, this is a lead. Hey Facebook, this was a completed registration, or this person purchased something. That's called a standard event. And I love them. They're my go-to, just bread and butter. I use them in everything, but they're a little bit more technical to set up. Now, a plugin like Pixel Your Site is going to help with that, but they're still more technical than the other way of doing things. The other way of doing things is with a custom conversion. And if you go into the Facebook interface, there is a custom conversion event, basically. Once you're in like the pixel section and you can look, there's a tab for custom conversions, and basically you just go in there and you say, hey, Facebook, when somebody visits this URL, usually an order confirmation page or a sign up confirmation page or some sort of confirmation page that says this person took an action, that's why they're at this URL. When somebody hits one of those, you can tell Facebook, hey, anytime that URL loads, go ahead and count that as a conversion. That's a really simple way to do it. You don't have to add any more code to your site. That's a big win for a lot of people, but there's one big drawback to that. And the big drawback is that you can't edit them after you create them. So if you create, let's use your newsletter sign up as a simple example. If you create one of these custom conversions and then later you change the opt-in confirmation page, so now when people sign up, instead of going to a boring thank you page, they go to your new really cool webinar registration page, which is a great model, by the way. If you change it to that custom conversion that you had, it's gone. You can't edit it. That data is you can no longer optimize for it. You kind of have to start over. And so custom conversions, while they're great and easy to set up, they do have that big limitation. So as long as you know that going in, we're cool. Okay. There's another way that I use though, and somebody asked me this, do I use custom conversions or standard events? And a lot of times what I actually do is I use them both together. Okay. So, and when I use them together, you set the standard event up on the page and you send those parameters in like I showed in the video. So I might say, hey, this is a lead event. It's for my Facebook webinar and that's what it's for. And so because I have those parameters in there, then I can go create a custom conversion. But instead of saying, hey, it's a custom conversion when they hit a specific URL, I say it's a custom conversion when a specific event comes in. When the lead event comes in and it has the parameter Facebook webinar in it, for example, then count that as a conversion. And in that respect, you're really taking advantage of the flexibility and power of the standard event, but also the power of the custom conversion so that you can separate your leads if you have more than one lead magnet. You can also still move things around, but not lose the custom conversion if you have to edit things. So that's actually what I do. It's the most technical way, but start with the custom conversions, understand the limitation, then move on to standard events. And once you get the hang of that, it's a small step to bringing custom conversions back in again. So that's kind of my thoughts on custom conversions versus standard events. It's kind of a big subject. I should probably do a separate video just on that so I can actually show you guys all of that stuff. The other question I get a lot is, how do you do that? Do you use a plugin, or what's a good way to do it? And again, I've mentioned this in the video, mentioned it just a second ago. Also, that's Pixel Your Site is the plugin that I recommend specifically for WordPress. I usually wind up doing these manually myself, or I also do them through Google Tag Manager, which is kind of another awesome another can of awesomeness. It's a little bit big for this video, but if you are using Google Tag Manager or you're familiar with tag managers, then absolutely, that's where I would choose to implement it. That's my favorite way to implement it. And when I do have agency level clients that come on, we always get them set up on Google Tag Manager to do everything through there because it is wicked awesome. Another question I want to get to, and this is a really, really good question because I've seen a lot of strangeness in conversion tracking land, is do you rely 100% on Facebook's conversion numbers to give you the data that you need? So in other words, when you log into Facebook and you're looking at the conversion tracking numbers, do you just take them for what they're worth, or do you also use some sort of third-party tools to help you, I guess, corroborate all of that stuff? And so to answer that question, I want to take it to the worksheet because this gets a little bit more complicated, but this is really fun stuff, and it's important to understand, even if you're not an analytics nerd like myself, even if you're not into all this stuff, let's say you're just a CEO, you're just the business owner, it's still critically important that you understand this part that I'm going to talk about because you need to understand it. Your agency guys need to understand it. Your analytics team and your data team and your marketing team need to understand it because the way that you interpret this data can have a big impact on things. And so just kind of knowing your way around some of the problems and some of the solutions out there can really help you make sure that you've got clean data, that you're making the right decisions. And so to start, let's just start with your website. So here's your basic website. This is your awesome website. All right. So here's your website for your company. And you've got these pixels installed. You've got your Facebook pixel installed. You've probably got Google Analytics installed. You might have some other tracking stuff, maybe perfect audience. Maybe you're doing some retargeting with some other types of things. But here's your website. It's got all this code on it. Now, when somebody visits your website, there's a few things that get logged here. So one of the ones that we've been talking about a lot is Facebook. Okay, so when somebody visits your website, their data is going to get sent over into Facebook's really massive database. Facebook isn't the only person keeping up with how things work online. There's about 1 million of these providers, but I'll just go with the most common one here, Google Analytics. So you might have all of the same events that are going into Facebook also going in to Google Analytics. So Facebook knows which URLs they went to. They know what events they triggered, but Google Analytics also knows what URLs they went to, and they know what things they triggered. Then, of course, if somebody actually converts on your site, they're probably going to be the conversion event, just for example, is going to be adding them to your email list. So somebody shows up at this website and they convert. Their email gets added to this list. That's not like a analytics conversion event or anything like that. That's like just a fact. Their email is now on this list. An event got sent to Google Analytics. An event got sent to Facebook. Maybe this is like a little bit bigger funnel, and a little bit further down the funnel, and this is they actually buy something. Okay, so and when they buy something, Facebook gets the data, Google gets the data, the shopping cart gets the data. Your email list or CRM might also get the data. For example, if this was Samcart and this was Drip or ConvertKit or whatever you're using for email, this single event on the website could yield data going to all these different places. Now, what we've been talking about today is just looking at this. So you're over here in Facebook land and you're like, hey, Facebook tells me I've got 10 conversions and I made $100 or something. And this is the view that we're looking at. Now, most of the time that's good enough because Facebook is good at what they do. But like any analytics thing, there are always anomalies and problems. And even if you have the best analytics out there, if you compare, so Google and Facebook are both really good at what they do. If you compare these two, they're never going to be the same. They're going to be similar, but they're never going to be exactly the same. That's just the way the internet works. Data is lost. Things are double counted. And so we're close, but we're never exact. So how do you figure out what the real numbers are? And do you bring in a third party to say, like, Facebook, are you right? Or Google, are you right? And the answer is it depends. And it depends a lot on how important it is, how important that data is that you're going after. So one of the concepts that I use a lot is this. This is if you're doing an important report and you really need specific numbers, this is more like something you do monthly, not daily. This is a concept from analytics land that's important. Sources of truth. So what is the source of truth of whatever events you're looking for? And so when you're building out your monthly report, instead of just getting all the data from Facebook or all the data from Google or something like that, you'd want to actually go out to each of these sources of truth and put together the best report you can. So if you want to know, how much money did I spend on my ads? All right. How much money did we spend on ads? Oh, well, we just ran Facebook ads. Let's go ask Facebook, how much money did we spend? And now the next question is, well, how many emails did we add to our list? How many leads did we get? Well, Facebook's going to tell us 100. Google might tell us 105 or 97. But what does our email list say? How many did we actually get? Maybe it's 98. That's the source of truth for how many emails you got. And how many sales did we make? How much money did we get? Facebook's going to have a value number there. Google's going to have a value number there. You might have one in your CRM if you use Infusionsoft or Drip or something like that. But Samcart or whatever your shopping cart is, they're going to have the real number of how much money you made. And so when you're putting together like a report that you want the actual real data, Facebook is great. They're going to give you the numbers you need to optimize your campaigns, but you should always go find these sources of truth when you're putting together a more complicated report. So this is a really awesome concept that I absolutely love for my clients to understand, because the more you understand about putting this stuff together and how there are slight discrepancies between this source and attribution models, how they work. But if you want the real data, the real like meat and potato stuff, go find the sources of truth for whatever it is that you're looking for. And that is it for this week. I'm Deacon Bradley. This has been really, really fun. And we'll be back next Wednesday. I haven't figured out exactly what we're going to be talking about next week, but come back here Wednesday, 3 p.m. And also, I just released a new video on my website. It's all about how we run Facebook ads within our KPIs. So how do we figure out we want to run profitable Facebook ads on our we want to run profitable Facebook ads for our clients? This is kind of a window into the process that we use, how we figure out our numbers and put stuff like this together. So I'm Deacon Bradley. I will see you next week.